Good afternoon, everyone. Okay, since we are all here, we have a task to accomplish in our subject. Let's talk about the outcome-based education. And after we tackle all the things, we have to think a good option to present it. But first, did you have an idea on our topic about the principles of outcome-based education? Okay, group mates, anyone?
But we need to talk about first what is the outcome-based education. Outcome-based education. As the name implies, it is an educational model that anchored and focused on the outcomes. It is defined by SPADI means clearly focusing and organizing educational system around what is essential for all students to be able to do successfully at the end of their learning process, starting with a clear picture of what is important for a student to be able to do, then organizing curriculum, instructions, and assessment to make sure that the learning is really happen.
Okay, thank you, Sir John, for the information.
So now let's talk about the four principles of outcome-based education. Clarity of focus, designing backward curriculum, high expectation, and extended opportunities.
Yes, and one of its principles is focus on outcomes. This means that teacher must be focused on what they want students to know, understand, and be able to do. Teachers should also integrate values in their lessons. With this, students will be related to the given topic. The skills, knowledge, and personalities that they will acquire should help them in the real world.
Okay, backward design helps teachers create courses and units that are focused on the goal rather than the process, because beginning with the end is often a counterintuitive process. Backward design gives educators a structure they can follow when creating a curriculum and planning the instructional process. Advocates of backward design would argue that the instructional process should serve the goals. The goals and the results for students should not be determined by the process.
So the other principle is what we call high expectation. So high expectations means that teachers should establish a high, challenging standards of performance in order to encourage a student to achieve deeply of what they are learning. So helping a student to achieve high standard is linked very closely with the idea that successful learning promotes more successful learners. So every learner must develop his or her potentially. Diversity needs to be accommodated, and teachers need to maximize opportunities of every learner by challenging learner to achieve and promote.
Expanded opportunity. Every student has different learning styles. The teacher must consider it because through it, he will or she will be able to distribute the learning inside the classroom equally. Giving an expanded opportunity caters not just the need of an individual but of every student inside the classroom. All will be giving a chance to learn, to discover, and enjoy the class. And also, it enables them to showcase their given skills and talents.
Curriculum objectives tends the students need to accomplish on what they are able to do upon completing the course, as well as the changes that the learner is expected to demonstrate after undergoing the learning activity. While intended learning outcomes is focused on the students should be able to do and value at the end of the learning experience, in which the content, the instructional strategies, and the assessment of the teacher all work together in order to support the students and achieve those learning outcomes.
The guidelines for producing effective intended learning outcomes. And Bloom taxonomy of cognitive development can help in identifying appropriate action verbs and ILO statement, depending on the learning goals, of course. Instructor can consider writing learning outcomes that span multiple levels of cognition, while delineated through the revised Bloom's taxonomies.
To sum it up, our meeting is based on what we have discussed about outcome-based education and its principle. OB is a model of education that rejects the traditional focus on what the school provides to students, in favor of making students demonstrate that they know and are able to do whatever the required outcomes are. OB reforms emphasize setting clear standards for observable and measurable outcomes. As what Maxwell said, change is inevitable, growth is optional. We have to adjust to whatever changes may happen, for the theme of aging time is development.